In this short presentation, we're going to consider what is meant by business continuity management. We'll be considering what it means. We'll be looking at why it is required. We'll also be considering how Farrens have achieved a business continuity management system. And lastly, we'll be outlining what your role in that system might be. The formal definition for business continuity states that it is a capability of an organisation to continue to deliver products or services at an acceptable predefined level following a disruptive event. And this is taken from ISO 22301. What this is saying is that if something was to happen that would stop our business operating as it normally does, we need to continue with those things that are critical to us, and we need to make sure that they meet minimally acceptable service levels and that they do so within timeframes that are agreeable to our clients. In order to have a business continuity capability, we need to consider certain aspects. Firstly, before a disruption was to occur, we need to have done some mitigation measures. That is, we need to have thought about the things that could go wrong, put in place procedures to prevent them from happening if possible, and where we cannot prevent them from occurring, we need to have built plans, teams, and processes that enable us to respond. If something was then to go wrong, we need to be able to respond. This means that we need to be able to react quickly to reduce the impact. It could cover things such as evacuating buildings or shutting down systems to prevent things from getting worse. After this, we need to respond to think about how we can continue to provide our critical services and products. Perhaps because of the evacuation, we can no longer get back into the office. We need plans to tell us how we will react, where we will go to work, and what we will do when we get there. This is the basis of continuity. Eventually, we'll want to go back to where we were working originally, perhaps. This is recovery, returning to some form of normal working or as close to normal as we possibly can following the disruptive event. Surrounding all of this is crisis management. This aspect of the response allows us to manage how our actions are perceived. It's about looking after the welfare of our people and the interests of our clients and suppliers, and is very much about protecting our reputation. In this graph, the blue line represents the likely performance without a business continuity plan. That is to say, if something was to go wrong, then the level of our operations is likely to drop to zero or something close to that and stay there for a considerable period of time. What we're trying to do through business continuity is understand what the minimum acceptable level of operation is and the time by which we must continue to provide that. We identify this information through the conduct of analysis, and it is very much driven by the expectation of our clients and in turn informs our continuity plans. What we want to do is avoid going into the area in red. In this zone, we would have failed to have delivered the acceptable level of operation, or we would have reached that point too late in terms of the expectation of our clients. Rather, by having a competent and effective business continuity capability, we can achieve the green line. That is to say that there will be some disruption following the event, but we are able to recover to the minimum acceptable level of operation within a timeline that we know meets the expectation of our clients. And this is very much the basis of business continuity and is built on the analysis that we have undertaken. So what then are the benefits to Farrens of having a business continuity management capability? First of all, if something was to go wrong, having a plan helps to reduce the downtime. That in turn reduces the impacts, whether they be financial, reputation, or staff welfare. It looks after our reputation because we're protecting the interests of our clients, our suppliers, and our staff. It increases the confidence that others have in us in our ability to continue to deliver what they require even if something was to go wrong. It improves the understanding we have of our own organisation, and in particular, the interdependencies and what's critical. It helps us to have a competitive advantage, as our clients are increasingly interested in our own continuity. We can address operational risks that we know are there through continuity planning. We can address supply chain risks by looking at the continuity of our supply base. And of course, it's good sound governance. When we introduced business continuity at Farrens, we followed the advice available in ISO 22301 as best practice. Here is the business continuity management lifecycle. It commences with analysis, that is, working out what is critical, what needs to be protected, and defining the continuity service levels and target times. This is followed by developing the solutions that will enable the critical aspects to be protected, and to deciding on how we are going to do that. Using this information, we built the plans and teams and structures that we could employ to manage the response to a disruptive event and to ensure the continuity of our critical activities, products and services. But it doesn't stop there. There's a requirement to test, rehearse and audit those plans and teams so that we can ensure they are fit for purpose and will work for us when we need them to. All of this is wrapped up in a program which is designed to ensure that business continuity becomes part of the culture at Farrens. The following diagram is a representation of a business. Consider it to be Farrens. A business operates in an external context. It has customers. There's a purpose to the business. It delivers products and services, and to do so, it carries out activities. Those activities have dependencies and supporting activities, and below that again there are critical resources and assets, such as buildings, people, and IT. There's also a supply chain, and the supply chain has a very similar structure. In order to understand, therefore, what needed to be delivered through our business continuity capability, we commenced by looking at the business context and understanding how this context influenced what needed to be included in our business continuity plans. From this analysis, we were able to identify what the strategic priorities and risks were, and therefore what needed to drive all other planning within the organisation. Using the strategic priorities, we worked out what needed to be protected at the critical activity and process level, and where the vulnerabilities were to these, and therefore what the continuity plans needed to cater for. We built continuity strategies to support the delivery of critical activities. We built these strategies in areas such as IT, HR, finance, supply chain, and premises. And lastly, we built plans. The plans help to define what needs to be done, when it needs to be done by, the service levels that have to be delivered, how it's going to be achieved, and who will carry out the plans. The following table sets out the strategic priorities for continuity for Farrens. You'll see on the left-hand side a number of services that have been listed. These are the key services. The middle column defines the minimum acceptable level of service that must be delivered. And the far right-hand column is the timeline or recovery time objective that must be met for each service. All planning within Farrens for business continuity is designed to meet these strategic priorities. We have also put in place a framework of plans and teams to manage the response to a disruptive event. The crisis management team is there to provide leadership and to look after the reputation of the organisation. The business continuity or recovery team is there to coordinate recovery across Farrens in line with the strategic direction provided from the crisis management team. There's an incident control centre and team whose role it is to gather information, understand the unfolding situation, and help inform decision making. We've also developed strategies. Those strategies are there to support the continuity activity of the divisions. They exist for areas such as IT, HR, accounts, and so forth. Each division also has a plan for its critical activities. These plans help inform exactly what those areas will do to ensure the continuity of what is most important to the organisation. As the great philosopher Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So we need to stay flexible. Our plans and our structures are designed to enable us to respond to changes in what we thought might happen and how we thought we might respond. It may not always go according to plan, but we need to be able to change our approach to ensure continuity. So, what might your role be in the continuity capability of Farron's? Firstly, you should find out about the continuity plan for your area. Understand what it says and what's critical to the department that you work within. If you know or find out about a possible continuity issue, make somebody else aware, particularly somebody within your management, so that they can carry out action to rectify the issue. And lastly, take part in the tests and exercises that we will be carrying out. This will help to identify weaknesses and to improve our continuity capability.